Trump has faced increasing calls to remove him from office on both sides of the political spectrum. And while there are several methods of removal detailed in the US Constitution, one that's received a renewed amount of interest is not impeachment, but the rarely cited 25th Amendment. So what exactly does this method entail, and how likely is it to be used against Donald Trump? Well, the 25th Amendment was actually envisioned not as a method of removing the president from power, but instead a clarification of what would happen if the president was incapacitated, resigned, or died. According to Article 2 of the Constitution, in any of these cases, the vice president would take over, and Congress would be allowed to select another official to govern until the president could resume their duties or a new president be elected. That might sound straightforward, but it actually created a series of problems concerning succession of the presidency. When the VP takes over, does that mean they're now officially the next president, or are they simply acting president until the next one is elected? And who becomes vice president? One example of this ambiguity was after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. When Vice President Andrew Johnson took over, he didn't name a new vice president. 3 years later, he was impeached. Had the Senate voted to remove him from office, which they did not, there would have been no second in command to take over the presidency. Clearly, this question of succession had to be dealt with, and that's where the 25th Amendment came in. It delineated 4 sections. The first clarified that, yes, the vice president becomes the actual president if the former president is removed, dies, or resigns. The second states that when there's a vacancy in the vice president position, the president nominates a replacement who must be approved by a majority of Congress. The third standardizes what happens if the president becomes incapacitated and has to temporarily grant power to the vice president, which has most commonly been used for medical reasons. Those 3 sections have all been put into effect before, but the fourth, which is the process of revoking power from a sitting president, has never been used. It provides a method of removal where the vice president, along with the majority of, quote, principal officers of the executive departments, submit a joint declaration to leaders in Congress that the president can't fulfill their duties. So, in theory, should Vice President Mike Pence and a majority of executive department heads of Treasury, State, Justice, Interior, Agriculture, Commerce, Labor, Defense, Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, Transportation, Energy, Education, Veterans Affairs, and Homeland Security agree that President Donald Trump should be removed, they can jointly submit such a declaration. But there's one big catch. The 25th Amendment allows for the president to simply submit a second declaration stating that they are, in fact, capable of fulfilling their duties. In that case, the VP and those department heads have to submit another declaration, forcing Congress to address the issue. From there, Congress gets 3 weeks to decide by a 2/3 majority whether or not the president can resume his position. In short, the 25th Amendment wasn't really designed to be used to remove a sitting president who wants to stay president. And realistically, if the vice president, along with most of the executive departments and a 2/3 majority of Congress are voting to remove the president, by then, it's more likely that he'd just be impeached. So, can the 25th Amendment remove Donald Trump? Technically, yes, but it's not likely. With such a low approval rating and so many calling for his removal from office, how did Donald Trump become president in the first place? Check out this video to the right explaining his unlikely election. Thanks for checking out Now This World. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more episodes just like this every week.